What's up, everybody? Today, we're going to talk about how to set your restoration business up, specifically the website, to help convert traffic into sales. We talk about conversion. We're talking about converting traffic, which are your targeted visitors, into actually more leads. So if you have a 2% conversion rate and you have 200 visitors on your website, you're going to have about 4 restoration jobs. I don't know where your targets are, but it's kind of low. But if you just increase that a little bit higher at a 4% conversion rate, you're going to double your revenue. Okay. So, it's super important to have conversion. There's a few things that we talk about quite a bit that we're going to mention here on the Restoration Rundown podcast that are going to help you get your restoration website built to convert more of that traffic into sales. So hopefully you have Google Analytics installed on your site. If not, I highly suggest doing it, especially if you're doing SEO. You wouldn't be really doing SEO if you did not have Google Analytics on your site. So there's 4 things that you can do right now to increase your conversions on your restoration website. Okay, so obviously one big one is the mobile site. You see we have a couple different device responsive screenshots here. Number one, a couple things, rule of thumb. These are the basics. These are the easiest things that you can do right now. You really don't even have to have a whole lot of web development experience. We always preach to use WordPress as your CMS. And if you did, then this is even easier to do. Number one, you want to have a nice professional looking logo. A lot of guys out there, actually a lot of companies, whether it's restoration business industry or not, they neglect their brand, right? So, why are you starting this business in the first place? Do you want to grow it, or do you want to just make a couple bucks here and there and move on to the next thing? Branding is huge. This is your tangible asset. This is what and how people are going to recognize your business. So spend some time, spend the money developing a nice professional looking logo. And most of all, if you're going to go through all that, make sure that's the thing that you see on the top left of your website. Okay. Next thing, you're going to want to make sure that you have some sort of USP, your unique selling proposition. So what makes you different than the competition? Why should somebody choose your business? 24/7 emergency service is an easy one. Most of you guys out there offer that right away, just due to the nature of your business. Something could be family owned and operated, veteran owned and operated, 2-hour response time, whatever your USP is, make sure that that's at the front, first and foremost part of your website. Right now we're in a microwave society. You don't want to give people too much time to hoe and hum around and try to look for the things they're looking for. All right. So the USP is a good idea, call to action, however you want to say it. Big one here. This is probably the most important one, especially nowadays for your mobile site, is having a phone number up at the top right or somewhere that's really pronounced on your website. And the other thing is make sure it's clickable. Okay. You want them to be able to click the call. Okay. Because you're going to see that if you do have analytics installed, a lot of that traffic is coming from a mobile device. You want to make sure you have the important information above the fold. What do you do? The last thing you want to do is have somebody find you on Google, go to your website, and it takes them forever to even figure out what your company does. You want to make it easy for them. You got to think about the old newspaper adage, above the fold. They put all that important information above the fold, and the same thing goes for your website, and even more so, again, for the mobile version of your website, okay? You got to remember, Google, a couple of years ago, switched to mobile-first indexing. So if you don't have a mobile website, you are not only not going to get ranked, but if your site's not mobile friendly, you're going to have people bouncing off and your conversion is going to go right into the shitter. Okay. You need to make sure and realize that greater than 70% that we're seeing here for our restoration clients, greater than 70% of traffic on a restoration website is coming from a cell phone. You got to remember, in an emergency type situation, computers are not going to be available. Sometimes there's no power, but a lot of times you will have that cell phone, especially now with the hotspots and cellular hotspots that are around. People are using their phones. So if a storm hits, like we have down here in South Florida, and people need somebody to come help remediate their damage, they're pulling out their phone. They're not pulling out the yellow pages. They're not going to open up their computer because they probably won't have power. And you got to make sure that just because you have a mobile site and you check that box, have to make sure that it's also built for conversion. So convert that traffic that's coming from a mobile device to a sale. And you use the same sort of principles. Okay. On a mobile site, you're going to want to make sure that you have a good UX, right? You don't want to make them have to scroll to find what they want. What they want is they want your phone number. They want to click the call. And nowadays we're actually even adding another click to call here, click here for emergency service. We don't want them to do any work, right? You want to make sure you have that phone number at the top right. This is an iPad, so device responsive. Typically, when you're going to build a mobile site, it pretty much is going to be responsive for any size device. So if they're using an iPad to find you, like some demographics are doing now, at least you have that ground covered. Shows what you do, the important information above the fold. And you got to make sure. So the couple key takeaways here, making sure you have your basics in order. You have your professional looking logo. You've got your phone number up at the top right. That is clickable. A really good idea too on your desktop site is displaying your reviews. So if you think about the buyer's journey, they're going to find you on Google if you're doing SEO properly. Sometimes they're going to check out your Google business. They're going to go to your website. If you have all your Google reviews there and you keep everything nice and tight above the fold for them, you're going to help make that buying decision for them. They're not going to have a chance to bounce off and check out your competition. Once they get to your site, you want them to stay there until they take action and click that button to call you or fill out a contact form to get in touch to get their property remediated. Now, a couple other hacks that you can do if you have the basics in order. Video is always a good idea to include on your homepage. Never autoplay a video. People don't like that, especially like if they're in a situation where they're at work and somebody has their husband or their wife go on and try to find property damage and they're trying to hide it. And all of a sudden you've got this loud video blaring in the background. Just make it to where they can take action and click the video. And you got to make sure too that your site is optimized for mobile. You need to add some trust logos. Testimonial videos are great. Add all your accreditations there because when people are searching for your services, they have an immediate need. So you do not want to make them have to look too hard to find the things that they're looking for. All right. So those are just 4 quick tips on how to increase your conversion rate on your website. You need to make sure you have a WordPress site, make sure you're doing SEO. Once they get to that site, you want them to stay there and pick up the phone to call. My name is Ben with the Restoration Rundown podcast, and we help restoration businesses grow their business the right way. We'll talk to you soon.